This is an audio book titled How I Weaseled My Way Through Life. It's the story of my life from age 13 till now, 2012. It started when I was 13 years old. I saw the Beatles on TV, and I wanted to get an electric guitar. But instead, my dad got me a really nice Hohner acoustic guitar and paid for 2 years of music lessons with Alice Lucas, Miss Alice Lucas, my guitar teacher. Time went on, and I left the music lessons and decided to just sit home and practice. So I used to practice Beatles and Rolling Stones songs on the acoustic guitar, sometimes while I was watching Star Trek. So time went on, and eventually I got a band together, and my brother played drums, I played guitar, and we had a few other people who I kind of can't remember. And then we used to play out. So time went on, and I joined a band with a friend of mine named Andy DeSario, and the group was called Andy and the Disciples. And being as my dad was a Methodist minister, he didn't really like the name, but we went ahead and we did a few jobs that way with that name, and we actually won a couple contests. So then after that, I went to the Levoi's Theater to see a friend of mine that was in a band, and I was in the audience, and before the show, a friend of mine, Rob Champion, asked me if I'd come up on the stage and come backstage, and I said, yeah. And he asked me if I could play the organ part to this song. And I said, well, I don't know. I never played and I never tried. I play guitar. He says, well, here's a Vox organ. Let me show you the parts. And so he went ahead and showed me all the parts to the song on the Vox organ, so because the organ player they had just didn't show up for some reason. So we were lucky enough to be the last group to go on, because that gave me time to practice the organ part. So we went on, and we started out the song. It was called In the Midnight Hour. I believe it was by Otis Redding. And we played the song through. Everything went all right. I even played the organ lead in the middle. And we ended up winning the Battle of the Bands that we were in at the Levoy Theater in Millville, New Jersey. So they figured, well, since the organ player didn't show up, and Mark can play a song just by showing it to him on, the hour, half an hour or an hour before we were supposed to go on stage, and he never played before on a keyboard, they decided they well, they wanted me in the group. And I said, okay. So the day after we won that Battle of the Bands, my dad bought me a double keyboard Farfisa organ, just like the one that Ray Manzarek played in the Doors. And it was a really good organ. So we got back together and we started practicing, and I learned a lot more songs. Actually learned how to play the keyboard, so, well, I thought I did anyway, but just parts. Okay, so we went on and we won quite a few Battle of the Bands, and we sounded good. We did songs like Incense and Peppermints by the Electric Prunes, and we also did songs by Jimi Hendrix. We did Purple Haze. We did songs by the Electric Flag, The Trip, from the movie that Peter Fonda was in. Well, we just did a whole array of songs. We did Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf, and quite a few other songs. So one time we got invited to a Battle of the Bands in Tony Mart's in Summers Point, New Jersey. It was a nightclub, and we weren't really old enough to get in, but we went in, and it was another Battle of the Bands. So we played, and I was playing a Hammond B3 organ at the time, and we did 2 more songs than we were supposed to because the audience just wouldn't let us stop. We did Purple Haze, The Trip, and I think it might have been Incense and Peppermints, or one of those songs. And we won that Battle of the Bands, and the contest had all adults in the other groups, and we beat them all out. So time went on, and that group eventually broke up. And then I started another band with Steve Laurie, Fred Sienna, Pete Karoff on vocals, Terry Koslop, and Eddie Steinborn on drums. And the group was called Infant Sorrow. And I wrote most of the songs for the band, and Pete and I wrote the lyrics. We had a really good band going. We sounded really great. And we used to play in Glassboro at a place called Martha's for $8 a piece a night. So we kept going on, and we eventually got better gigs. And eventually, we landed a recording contract in New York with a company called Vanguard Records. So things seemed like they were going pretty good, but before we even signed it or anything, the group broke up. So there I was, kind of left hanging in the air, and I said, well, I got to try something different. So I got a few club bands together, and we did cover songs of Rod Stewart, the Rolling Stones, and the usual thing, the club bands, working for $100 a weekend. And it's okay. It's a little extra money, but it turned out that really wasn't what I wanted either, so I decided to get another band together. And this band, I wrote all the songs. And we did an album in 1971 or 2, and we recorded it in Atlantic City. And the first side of it was just one song. It was called The Greeter. And the album turned out pretty good, but we never really got any airplay, and we never really made any money, so that kind of went down the tubes too, that band. So I went back to the club bands for a while and kept playing and playing and playing. And after a while, I realized that years and years have gone by, and I wasn't really making the money I should be making. But a lot of musicians don't. I'm sure there's thousands of musicians that play better than I do. But then I kept going on and got in another band. And we ended up playing at the Levoy Theater again. Where I sort of started out. And we had a 3-piece power band called Triad. And it was me on guitar and synthesizer, Timmy Malnick on bass, and Dennis Hogan on drums. So we did a really good show there. We had about 1,500 people, or at least, I don't know if that was that many, if they could seat that many. The place was packed, and there was people standing in the aisles, so we had the big Marshall stacks, you know, cabinets with 8 10-inch speakers in them, and 8 12s, 200 watts through a big PA system. We were probably as loud as the Who, so we did a few songs that I wrote, including one or two I still have the tapes of live from the Levoy. And we were pretty well accepted. But as luck has it, that group broke up too. So we kept going. I kept trying different bands, played a few more club bands. And one night at a club in Hamilton, New Jersey, I was playing, and I was doing this solo to Light My Fire by the Doors. And the band was playing so loud above my solo that I couldn't even hear it to play. So I picked up my equipment, stopped playing, walked off the stage, and never played in the club band again. So some time went on, and I was just doing some solo work with a friend, and we had some good songs. And time went on, and I wrote a song called Hold On to Your Dreams. A really nice song with good vocals, sort of sounded like the Beatles. And my friend Dennis Hogan played drums and sang on it. And at the time, he owned about a $10,000 recording studio. So we did a really good version of the song. And I sent it to a record company in North Jersey. And for about 6 or 7 months, they contacted me by letter, by phone, saying that they were guaranteed they were going to do something with this song and make it, you know, a big song. They were a big record company. So after about 7, 8 months, that didn't work out, and I couldn't even contact the record company. So that kind of fell apart. Then I took some music lessons for about 2.5 years from Professor Frank Haas He was a piano teacher. And I learned different styles of music. Started playing a lot of different things. And eventually, I sent some tapes that I did with Tim Melnick and Eddie Steinborn from quite a long time ago, and sent him to Chick Corea, and he liked my music, and he wrote back to me and he said, "Your music is very mellow and tasty, and you've come a long way in the past few years," because I had sent him some other tapes. So I decided to maybe stick with the music a little bit longer. And then nothing really happened for a long time. And I decided, well, you know, I think I'm just going to quit for a while. So for 13 years, I didn't play piano, guitar, bass, or write a song or anything. And eventually, somebody heard one of my songs and said, "You ought to play, you're good, you got good songs." And I said, "Yeah, but it's, you know, really hard to weasel your way into the music business." But I kept trying. So I put the song out, "Hold On to Your Dreams," and I put it on iTunes, and it did pretty well. So I wrote some more songs, got them up on the internet, got them live on iTunes and iHeartRadio and all the major music download stores. So that brings us up to now, and what I'm doing now. I've got 2 singles out on iTunes. One is called The Road of Life, and it's getting pretty good response on the radio, and I've sold quite a few copies. And I just put a new single out, and that should be coming out soon. It's called Jazz for Lisa. And also, if you ever want to check out some of my music, I'm on the Jazz Network. You just type in www.jazzNetwork.com/profile/Mark Daniel Uncle. And I have about 90 songs on there you can check out. So like I said, I kind of weaseled my way into the music business, but still haven't done that great. But I'm still trying, and that's just a short, brief audio book of hopefully a complete paperback book that will be coming out, called How I Weaseled My Way Through Life. A look at my life in the music business from 13 till now. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed listening. And like I said, there'll be a more complete audio book coming out, and also hopefully a hardback and a paperback of this same book, How I Weaseled My Way Through Life. Thanks a lot, people, for listening. Bye-bye.